Here we go. Let's see if we can get artists to fire up and work on here. You don't get the authentic +3 disc chugging sound, so it looks like it's doing nothing sometimes. But we'll load artist up and see what happens. It's loading in. There's a few little machine code routines for fills and window saving and stuff, and then a basic program. There are a number of interesting little bugs and foibles to this. I stopped playing around with this when I was a teenager and have recently rediscovered it. It would be fun to polish it up, finish it off. It needs a little bit more machine coding. I think it's a little bit sluggish at times. It'd be interesting to see what it's like on a next. Anyway, so QAOP to scroll that little flickering dot around. The spacebar is kind of like the action key, and if we hit the I key, up comes some icons. Please, there we go. A little sluggish. That sort of funny attribute problem over there on the right hand side, I believe, looking at the code, it's supposed to be a shadow. It's not quite right, and I think there's more to it than that. But anyway, let's have a little look. So you've got a bunch of icons here. And basically we've got so there's like disk options here, import screen, export screen. The textures are to do with the fill routine. It's quite an interesting idea here about a merge, and looking at it, it looked like I was thinking about you would write a small piece of sort of your own code, and you had a way of merging that in to the program and then calling it. And sort of using it as your own little subroutine that you could bake in. So I suppose in a lot of ways a little bit like a Photoshop plugin. Some code to load a font in, just a normal Spectrum character set dump, to have a look at what's on the disk drive and return. So I'll go through all these properly later on in the process. But so you go back from there. Some stray beeps here that need to be chased down at some point. I think this is just a bit of information about. So this is where you've got the help coming in, you've got stuff to do with icons and stuff. Some of that is fleshed out, and some of it is not. So let's sort of try and show you what the different icons do. So this is sort of like a kind of an interactive help. That beep's very annoying. You get the idea. We go back to main screen again, pull them up again. What else have we got? There's stuff in here. This doesn't really belong in this part of the program. I had a feeling I have another version of the code somewhere which doesn't have the graphic icons. It's much quicker. It just has menus that appear up, and in some respects this was a bit of a blind alley. The icons are good, but they're not always that explanatory, I think, and maybe it would be better to just stick to text. And what I'll do later on is I'll dig out the other +3 disk image that I made, and I'll fire that one up and show you the difference with that. We pull this up. There are some bugs and quirks and weird things in this, and not all this makes sense. And there's a classic IT see manual for details. That would be the manual that doesn't exist and never would. The text is a bit crude. We just sort of put something in here, and then we can sort of throw it around the screen. There's nothing very clever going on there. You can see there's some problems with the timing and the way in which the sort of over command is working. It's not particularly smooth, and the text is going in at character positions, not pixel scrolling, which would have been a nice thing to do. Anyway, what else have we got on here? Are you going to wake up for me? It's a little bit non-responsive sometimes, which is kind of a bit interesting. There we go. It needs to be looked at. This just lets you draw. There are different ways of controlling this, and I forget what they are off the top of my head. But there are ways of turning the key on and off, and using it more like a bit of an interactive pencil, as you might imagine. Fill routine. We don't want to do it from where we are. That would have been a mistake. Let's just turn the pencil off. we go. Those beeps are very annoying, aren't they? So there's a fill routine thing here. This is a bit of machine code. This is a bit clunky. I would do this very differently now. But yeah, so you've got like a kind of an irregular shape fill going on there. I think this is to do with loading up. Yeah, okay, there's a bug there. Look, it's crashed out and left the icon selection bit up there on the screen, so it hasn't undone the pop-up window. That's good. Stuff there for the palettes. It's clunky, I know it's clunky, but you know, it was an innocent age. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to stick to. It was an innocent age, and we want to basically do that. You see how it's kind of clunked up that. We've got some interesting attribute problems here. This is sort of almost like a not very convincing proof of concept. One last one I will sort of show you very quickly. There's some stuff on here to do shapes. The magnify area is really interesting, and I want to speed up the code behind that before I show you that, or maybe I'll just mess with Fuse's settings in a minute. But you kind of draw stuff. I don't know quite where my cursor's gone, but there we go, it is there. So you sort of, simple ways to draw things. A bit of rubber banding would be nice, but I seem to remember there are some trail problems. There are some over one kind of problems lurking in there. Anyway, let's have a quick look at this one, which is the magnify area. And this was kind of interesting. So the idea is that you sort of go and find an area of the screen that you would want to magnify. Okay, so let's go and do that. Let's pretend those attribute problems are not happening, hey kids. And then you pull it up, and it says, are you sure you want to magnify this area? Because this bit takes a little while. Do we want to get the contents of what's in that area? Well, we do. And do you know what I'm going to do now? I don't know if you can see me cheating here, but I'm actually going to go and just adjust this machine a little bit if I can. I'm not quite sure. Well, I don't know Fuse as well as I should, do I? That's poor. Probably in general, I would think. Emulation speed. Let's just give this a bit of poke, just for the time being, because there we go. Look at that flash thing go there now. That is no, it's 2.5 times specky. It's still taking a long time, and now it's filling it in. So what it did, and the code for this was dreadful. Instead of reading the screen buffer, there's not very many bytes to read there. It was doing a whole bunch of point operations and storing them in an array. I guess back when I was a youngster, I didn't really think about that. So now I've kind of got this grid here, and I can paint in the grid and change things around, as you can see. I don't know how, is there a way of inversing that on? I forget how to undo them now. I don't remember the keys when I was messing around with it. Let's just kind of, I want to just kind of prove what it's doing here as a kind of a concept. So ropey as, I know, but there you go. Of course, because I've still got the spectrum running at a very, very fast speed now, it's actually quite hard to control. I did not mean to do that. Oh, I did, look, it's doing it. Okay. Not a lot of feedback there as to what it was going to do, but you can see it's kind of updated that area of the screen, and I got a little beep to tell me it's done. Marvelous. So anyway, that is Artist to begin with. Okay. If we bring up the thing again, and we go back to here, I think. Does 8 go back to there? Now, one of these will take me back to the loader. It could be one of the ones on here. Here we go. 4. Okay, so that'll give me a moment. So it's come back up. There's a couple of other things that were on here that are worth a quick look at. There's a way of messing around with attributes rather than it being kind of an art package as such. I don't really know why I had these two things separated out, other than that the colouring stuff in Artist itself was crap. And I think in my head I thought you'd draw something and then you would work with the colours, and that's possibly not the most intuitive way to do this thing. But anyway, if we have a quick look at what's on the disc, there's some crap on the disc, some marvellous pictures, marvellous names there. RCGR, I'm guessing we'll have a go with that one. So if we sort of load RCG art, it would be nice to see this on the screen and what have you. So now I go to edit the screen and wrong file type. Oh dear. Okay. So we try it again, load up the loader. This is like the spirit of all my good demos. Right, so load screen. I wonder if this is not what I'm thinking it's going to be. Mag pick was another one, and then edit screen. Okay, so this is obviously at some point I was trying to make something to do with Heavy on the Magic, a loader for Heavy on the Magic. Can't seem to figure out what I'm doing with the keys at this juncture, so I need to break into the code at some point and have a look at that. Let's not worry about doing that right now. Let's get the loader back up again very quickly. This was a simple character editor that I had messed around with. So you work with sort of character sets or use defined graphics. Oh gosh, what a leading question. I guess 1, 5, 3, 60. I don't know. No, it doesn't like that. Can I cancel that? Nope. Gosh, I don't know. Give me whatever I put in 4,000. Okay. Can we load a character set into that? I guess we probably can. File name. I have the foggiest name. Let's try something. File not found. Okay. At this point, I'm going to stop the demo and go and look at the rest of what's in there. Taskword 3, I think, was kind of me messing around trying to hack. That's interesting. Just sort of hacking Taskword to work with the +3 disk, and I seem to remember there was something I ended up getting bogged into. But anyway, doesn't really matter, does it? 1989. That was a few years ago, wasn't it? I'll leave this there just for the moment. This was really just to test the screen recording software and to see if I could record Fuse from an emulator through onto the Mac, but it it grew legs. I'm gonna leave it there and do this properly again very shortly.